Live from the 412, it's Platt's point of view, y'all. Let's go. Hey, what's up, everyone? I'm Platt, and this is Platt's point of view, the March Madness preview show. I'm so excited today, y'all. Thanks for joining me. On today's show, we'll talk men and women Ncaa tournament. I'll give you my favorites to win it all, sleeper teams, players to watch, my Final Four predictions, and who I think will cut down the nets at State Farm Arena in Phoenix, Arizona, April 8th. I'll do the women too. So the first round games for the men start March 18th through March 22nd. Second round men's games, March 23rd to March 24th. Sweet 16 men's, March 28th to the 29th. Elite 8 men's, March 30th to 31st. And the Final Four is April 6th. My favorite to win it all. We're going to start with the Ncaa Huskies. Head coach Dan Hurley's team, they're top ranked. The Huskies are the favorites to repeat. I know one thing, if you even take one playoff against these Huskies, one sequence in a game, the Huskies will make you pay 99% of the time. UConn point guard Tristan Newton, he's putting in 15 points a game, 7 rebounds, 6 assists, 1 steal. He's the player that makes the Connecticut Huskies go. He's a dog. There's been 15 triple-doubles in UConn men's basketball history, and guess what? Newton has 4 of them. Man, he's probably the best all-around player in college basketball. Nobody else for Connecticut has more than 2 triple-doubles. Keep an eye on the UConn Huskies, man. They're tough. Next team, Houston. The Cougars, they are one, if not the toughest team in college basketball. Over the past 4 years, the program has won over 119 games with just 17 losses, 18 now. And the Cougars, they have the best defensive rating in the nation. Led by feisty guards L.J. Cryer at 15 points a game and Jamal Shadd, they form a nice defensive duo. They say defense wins championships. It would not surprise me if the Houston Cougars defense carried them all the way to the national title. Another team that I like, the Arizona Wildcats. This Wildcats roster has 3 players with Final Four experience. Let's start with former North Carolina guard Caleb Love. He played in the title game in 2022 with North Carolina. Forward Keyshawn Johnson, he played in last year's title game with San Diego State. And their big man, Amar Ballo, he didn't play, but he was part of the 2021 Gonzaga team that lost in the national championship game to Baylor. The Arizona Wildcats, they play a fast-paced, up-tempo style of basketball, but I just got a feeling if they run into a team that can slow them down, it might be a struggle for the Wildcats, but I'm still holding out hope for them. They're one of my favorites, so we shall see. Another team, North Carolina, the Tar Heels. Head coach Hubert Davis and the Tar Heels are one of the winningest teams in the tournament. 6 national titles, which ranks 3rd all time. In 2022, they came up short and finished as the runner-up to Kansas. These guys are led by R.J. Davis. He's a stud, 41% three-point shooter, ACC Player of the Year, and also they're led by center big man Armando Baycock. He's shooting 55% from the floor. The Tar Heels, they're a good transition team. They like to play fast. They can defend and score at a high level. They'll be a tough matchup for any team. Sleeper teams, let's start with Alabama. This team is a pure run and gun. This style of basketball usually runs most opponents out of the gym. They're led by senior guard Mark Sears at 21 points a game, 4 rebounds, 4 assists. Stretch 4 Grant Nelson, he could be a matchup nightmare for most teams. At 6'11", 230 pounds, he can play on the post, he can play on the perimeter. They also have 4 players on Alabama that shoot better than 38% from 3-point range. And their whole team can make their foul shots, which will be key in the NCAA tournament. Their defense, it can be shaky sometimes, but if them threes is falling and they're running in the open court, look out for Alabama. How about Creighton? Creighton is one of the hottest teams in college basketball. Creighton beat number 1 ranked UConn a few weeks ago. Creighton averages over 10 3-point shots made per game. The Blue Jays have plenty of weapons, and they're very hard to defend. They play a different style of basketball, which could get teams frustrated. They're led by 6'7" swingman Baylor Shireman. Shireman's a dog. 18 points a game, 8 rebounds, 4 assists. He's shooting 45% from the floor. He's a 38% three-point shooter and an 86% foul shooter. Another team, the BYU Cougars. I'm a little mad because they played Duquesne, but this is still a sleeper team, man. We're going to win that game. But the BYU Cougars, they beat 4 ranked opponents. They have 6 players that average between 13 points a game and 9 points a game. These guys are very unselfish. They play together. They got good camaraderie. And they have a big man named Ali Khalifa. He's a matchup problem. At 6'11", 270 pounds, the kid, he averages 4 assists, and he's a career 35% three-point shooter. When BYU's hitting their threes, they can overwhelm opponents with timely, back-breaking three-pointers, man, in crucial moments. If BYU bring their defense, this will be a tough matchup for whoever. Beware BYU. Remember I said that. Another team, Gonzaga. This offensive juggernaut can give any team an issue. They have good coaching and experience. Point guard Ryan Nembhard, he's a solid floor general, makes good decisions. He has a 6 assist to 2 turnover ratio. Hickman, he's a deadly three-point shooter for the Zags at 40%. And forward Graham Ike, he's the leading scorer at 16 points a game. The Zags, they're ranked 48th defensively in defensive efficiency. So this group can definitely defend. They're not just offense. And don't be shocked if the Zags end up making a run in the Elite Eight and maybe beyond. The team is talented, but hold up. One thing, though, Gonzaga has a crazy first-round matchup against McNeese State. McNeese State is 30-3 from the Southland Conference. They're one of only 4 teams to win 30 games, and they're led by, remember this name, y'all, Shahada Wells. 6 feet, 180 pounds. The kid averages 17 points a game, 4 assists, 3 steals. He's a 47% field goal shooter and a 40% three-point shooter. He makes McNeese State go, and it would not surprise me if they beat Gonzaga. Remember the name, Shahada Wells, man. He's a dog for McNeese State. But next up, Kentucky. The Kentucky Wildcats, they haven't made the NCAA tournament second weekend since 2019. The Wildcats ended the regular season on a 5-game winning streak, beating Alabama and Tennessee in Knoxville during that span. With several down years in Lexington recently, I think under Coach Calipari's guidance, freshmen like Justin Edwards, DJ Wagner, Reed Shepard, Antonio Reeves, and the crew, they have enough talent and depth where they can make some noise in the big dance, man. Keep eye on John Calipari and the Kentucky Wildcats. Players to watch. I love this part. Let's start with UConn swingman freshman Stephon Castle. 6 feet, 200 pounds, 11 points a game, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. He's shooting 48% from the floor, and he's a 75% foul shooter. Hey, man, this highly talented freshman, he started the season off slow. I was wondering what was going on, but he stepped his game up the last 2 months. Stephon Castle has been the Big East Freshman of the Week 10 times, which ties Carmelo Anthony for most all-time in Big East history. Stephon Castle's combination of size, ball handling, and athleticism and defense will be key if the UConn Huskies plan on repeating as national champions. I like me some Stephon Castle. Another kid, Houston point guard senior Jamal Shead. 6'1", 200 pounds, 13 points a game, 6 assists, 2.3 steals a game. This tough-minded defensive guard is one of the players that makes the Houston Cougars go. The reigning AAC Conference Defensive Player of the Year. He's also a Bob Cousy finalist. This is the best point guard in the country. Shad has a record of 118 and 17 losses in 3 seasons at Houston. That's remarkable. If Shad is on his game, especially defensively, look for Houston to make a deep run in the tournament, man. This guy's a hawk on defense. Check him out. Another kid, I really like Kentucky guard Reed Shepard. Shepard's a freshman, 6'3", 190 pounds. He's coming in at 12 points a game, 4 rebounds, 4 assists. He's a 52% three-point shooter, which leads the nation. He also averages 2.5 steals a game. Shepard is one of the most efficient players in the nation. Shepard is the 11th Kentucky player to win SEC Freshman of the Year honors. Shepard is 8th in the country in steals, like I said, at 2.5. Shepard's shooting, playmaking, and defensive intensity will be key if Kentucky plans to make a run in the NCAA tournament. The other kid, North Carolina senior combo guard R.J. Davis, 21 points a game, 3 rebounds, 3 assists. Like I said, he's a 41% three-point shooter. He's a deadly foul shooter at 88%. He's making his foul shots. Davis is one of the best scorers in the nation. His only game against Duke and also November 17th against UC Riverside were the only games Davis was held under 10 points. The ACC Player of the Year has gotten better every year at North Carolina. This kid has had some big explosive games. 36 points versus Wake Forest, 42 points against Miami, 30 points against the talented Arkansas team. Davis is the type of scorer I think that can carry North Carolina all the way to the Final Four. This guy, you like him. Funny name too, it's interesting. Utah State junior forward, Great Osobor. Yeah, his name is Great Osobor. This London native is 6'8", 250 pounds. He's coming in at 17 points a game, 9 rebounds, 3 assists, 1.5 blocks. He's a 57% shooter from the floor, and he also averages 1.3 steals. The Mountain West Player of the Year finished top 5 in 6 different statistical categories: points, rebounds, field goals, steals, blocks, and top 15 in 4 other categories. Great Osobor had a breakout season for Utah State this year after being a reserve the past 2 seasons. Man, Great Osobor, he's a versatile offensive player with good passing skills. He loves playing in the paint, throwing his weight around, and he's good around the hoop. Osobor has scored double figures 28 times this season. He has 11 20-point games and 3 30-point games, and also has double-digit rebounds in 14 games. This guy is an underrated dog. Great Osobor has the skill set that he could lead Utah State to a few wins in the tournament. Stay tuned. Last but not least, this guy's prolific. Illinois senior 2-guard Terrence Shannon Jr., 6'6", 220 pounds. He's averaging 23 points a game, 4 rebounds, shooting 47% from the floor. He's a 36% three-point shooter. The third leading scorer in the nation. Shannon is a prolific open court scorer, straight buckets. Shannon had some off-court issues this past season, and he was suspended. He got reinstated and rejoined the team in January. Illinois would not be a number 3 seed without him, guaranteed. He averaged 34 points a game in 3 Big Ten tournament games. I told you the guy can score. If he keeps up this shooting and scoring, Illinois can make a run to the Final Four. My Final Four predictions, I got UConn, Kentucky, Creighton, and North Carolina. My national champion will be the UConn Huskies. Yes, I said it. UConn will win the national championship and become the first team to win back-to-back titles since Joakim Noah and the Florida Boys back in 06 and 07. This is their best chance to repeat of any team that I've seen in the past 15 years. They have all the ingredients. The most outstanding player, you ask? I think it will be Alex Caravan, the forward for Connecticut. He's averaging 14 points a game, 5 rebounds. He shoots 50% from the floor, 40% from three-point range, and he's a 90% foul shooter. He's a 50-40-90 guy. Caravan is a shot maker. He's a good cutter. He's a solid defender. His game is more advanced than it was a year ago, and I think he got ice in his veins. He has the sweet shooting stroke that will help UConn prevail and repeat as national champions. Now let's move on to the women. Ladies, women's college basketball. The 2023-24 women's college basketball season has been box office all season. Get your popcorn ready. The sport has watched its popularity rise in recent years, especially these last 2 years, man. From, you talk about Dawn Staley, South Carolina women going undefeated, to LSU looking to repeat. You got Caitlin Clark for Iowa. She's a star who's played in some of the highest rated women's basketball games in history. Now it's March Madness. It's time for all these talented young ladies to compete for a championship they all set out to get at the start of the season. Let the games begin. The Women NCAA tournament starts March 20th with the first 4. It ends April 7th in Cleveland, Ohio at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. My favorites to win it all, we're going to start with Dawn Staley and the South Carolina women Gamecocks. They're 33-0. Who can beat the Lady Gamecocks? They're the only undefeated team having lost 2 or fewer games in 4 of the past 5 seasons. That's remarkable. They almost went undefeated last year. They ran into all-everything star Caitlin Clark, and they lost in the Final Four. South Carolina barely escaped recently in the SEC semifinals against a very talented Tennessee team. At 6'7", center Camila Gordoza is a load in the middle. She'll miss that first tournament game, though she's suspended. She's averaging 14 points a game, 9 rebounds. She shoots 58% from the floor, and she's coming in with 2.6 blocks. South Carolina has been one of the best things in women's college basketball, but can they get the job done? We gonna see. Next, you got LSU, 28-6. The defending champs, definitely they have a shot to repeat. LSU has quickness and size everywhere. You talk about the value Bardi, Angel Reese, and Anissa Morrow. They are 2 of the game's best rebounders, straight glass eaters. I also think backup point guard Laz Terpoa is key. Her ball handling, tenacious defense, and scoring off the bench is crucial this year. Head coach Kim Mulkey, she has yet to beat South Carolina, but to win the national championship again, she probably won't have to. Next up, another team that I like, USC. The Trojans, they come in at 26-5. They have a legitimate chance to reach the Final Four for the first time since 1994 when they had Lisa Leslie and the great Tina Thompson. They were teammates. With the coaching experience of Lindsey Gottlieb and everything freshman sensation Juju Watkins coming in at 27 points a game, 7 rebounds, the sky's the limit for the Trojans. Another team that I really like, the Stanford Lady Cardinals. They're 28-5. The Lady Cardinals, man, they struggled offensively, and they was dominated on the boards recently in a Pac-12 final against USC. Sometimes Stanford, though, man, they look unstoppable, these girls. But in their 4 losses, their offense, it was stale, it was lacking. I think it's up to forward Cameron Brink at 17 points a game, 12 rebounds, 51% from the floor, and forward Kiki Ariafen, she averages 18 points a game, 11 rebounds. She's shooting 54% from the floor. It's up to them two to carry Stanford to the promised land. All in all, I think Cameron Brink and Kiki Ariafen, they got to put on their Alonzo Mourning and Dikembe Mutombo cape if they want to take Stanford to the championship. Sleeper teams. I like Colorado. These girls are tough. Colorado coming in at 22-9. The Buffaloes are a team everybody should have on high alert. Colorado can score on all 3 levels. As a team, they average 77 points a game, 37 rebounds and 19 assists and 10 steals per game. So they play everywhere. They're all over the place. Colorado, they like to play an old school style of basketball. They're led by the front court of forward Quay Miller at 9 points a game and 7 rebounds, and Aaronette Vonleh. She averages 14 points, 5 rebounds. She's shooting 56% from the floor. Both of them clog the lane on defense, and they do an excellent job of switching on smaller defenders. Colorado, they started the season beating Angel Reese and LSU. Since then, they've beat 4 top-ranked teams. Colorado's nothing to sneeze at. Be careful, Colorado's coming. Another team, UNLV. At 31-2, the Lady Rebels are riding a 15-game winning streak. These girls have not lost since January 20th. They're led by senior center Desi Ray Young. At 18 points a game, 9 rebounds, she's shooting 55% from the floor. Point guard Kiara Jackson, 11 points a game, 4 rebounds, 4 assists. She shoots 43% from the floor, and she's a 40% three-point shooter. The Lady Rebels, they average 79 points a game, and they're outscoring teams by 21 points per game, while only allowing 58 points per game, which ranks 54th in the nation. This is a fun group to watch, man. These West Coast girls, they coming. Another team, Kansas State, 25-7. These girls are battle-tested, having faced top-level competition while losing their best player in the middle of conference play in one of the best conferences in college basketball. Leading scorer and rebounder, center Ayoka Lee, she missed 6 games with an ankle injury. This girl's tough, man. She's healthy and she's ready to go. She averages 20 points a game, 8 rebounds. She shoots 62% from the floor, and she averages 2.7 blocks a game. It seems like people are overlooking the Kansas State Wildcats. I know they're in a tough bracket, but I'm thinking Sweet 16 at least. These girls right here, one of my favorites. I love this story. Fairfield. The Fairfield Stags, they're 30-1. The Stags are in the top 25 for the first time in team history. They're the only team in the country besides South Carolina with 1 or fewer losses. Fairfield has held 11 opponents to fewer than 50 points in a game, while limiting 9 opponents to shoot under 30%. Do not sleep these girls, I'm telling you. Fairfield has beaten teams from the Atlantic 10, the Big Ten Conference, and the Big East. So they're battle-tested, and they're not going to be scared. Fairfield is led by freshman Megan Anderson. I like Megan, man. 15 points a game, 5 rebounds, 52% from the floor. She's a 37% three-point shooter, 86% foul shooter. She's been the MAC, which is the MAAC Rookie of the Week 10 times this season. They also got senior point guard Janelle Brown. She is no slouch. Coming in averaging 13 points a game, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. She's a 47% three-point shooter, and she shoots 58% from the floor. Brown leads all Division I guards in field goal percentage at 58%. Fairfield is a very dangerous team, and Janelle Brown, it's hard to stand in front of her, man. She's a very quick guard. Be careful. Fairfield's dangerous. Women's players to watch in the NCAA tournament. This is my favorite. LSU forward guard junior Anissa Morrow. 16 points a game, 10 rebounds. She's shooting 47% from the floor, 2.7 steals, 82% foul shooter. This 6'1" versatile girl, I think, is the X factor if LSU plans on repeating as champions. She has over 64 career double-doubles and 18 double-doubles this season. She's a finalist for the Cheryl Miller Award, which goes to the top lady small forward in college. Her toughness, versatility, and quick hands on defense, like I said, 2.7 steals, will be vital if LSU wants to repeat as national champs. Next person, you got to check out this girl, man. Notre Dame freshman point guard Hannah Hidalgo. 23 points a game, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, 5 steals, which leads the nation's third leading scorer. This 5'6" spark plug is very impressive as an offense and defensive player, man. She's a dog. If she stays on this pace, the Fighting Irish, they will make a deep tournament run. Another female that you got to watch out for, how about Ohio State senior J.C. Sheldon? She's averaging 18 points a game, 4 assists. She's shooting 51% from the floor, 39% three-point shooter, 2 steals, 86% foul shooter. Sheldon, if you know her and you watch women's college basketball, she pretty much was known as like an elite defender, but she took her game to another level this year. Now she's a cold-blooded scorer. She plays fast, and she's very passionate. Sheldon, she's the ringleader for that Ohio State full-court pressure defense. She's having a career year for the Buckeyes, and she's the type of female that can get them forward, man, them Buckeyes. Keep an eye on her. Another female, you got Gonzaga senior forward Yvonne Edgem. 20 points a game, 8 rebounds. She's shooting 62% from the floor. She's averaging a block a game. Yvonne is probably the best mid-major women's player in the nation. Her footwork is elite. She can finish with either hand. Edgem has over 132-point field goals, which led the nation. She does most of her damage in and around the paint. Do not sleep Yvonne. Nobody's talking about her. Yvonne Edgem is a monster. She's coming. Another female, South Carolina senior point guard Tahina Pow. At 11 points a game, 4 assists. She's shooting 48% from the floor. She's a 48% three-point shooter, which is second in the nation. She shoots 84% from the foul line. This Oregon transfer was a 2-time All-Pac-12 performer before transferring to South Carolina. Pow has a ton of experience in big games. Her ball handling and shooting and tempo will be key if South Carolina looks to go undefeated. And I'm telling you, do not overlook her three-point shooting, because it seems like Pow, she makes timely threes to be backbreakers for other teams, man. It's crazy. But yeah, Pow's tough. Final Four, predictions for the females: LSU, USC, South Carolina, and I was going back and forth between UConn and Texas, but I'm going to go with Texas, man. Them girls are tough. My women's national champion will be LSU. LSU beats Texas to repeat. The most outstanding player will be LSU swing woman, Anissa Morrow. I think LSU backup point guard Lance Terpoa will be solid enough with her defense, scoring, and rebounding to help offset the Lady Tigers' depth issues. But when it's all said and done, Anissa Morrow will be the X factor and the reason LSU repeats. I look for Morrow to increase her workload and carry LSU with her tenacious defense, rebounding, and scoring. This girl's an animal in the paint. And that's all the time we have for the March Madness preview show. Thank you all for joining me, and enjoy the madness as it unfolds. March Madness, baby. We see you next time.